Hey, what's up guys? Welcome to another unscripted Movie Flame video. So for the past 3 months, I have been working on my Half-Blood Prince Easter egg video, and I'm getting pretty close to finishing it, but I wanted to make sure I had an upload for you guys this week, so I decided to film me doing a tier list. And the tier list that I chose is basically ranking Harry Potter characters on good and evil. If you like this video, hit that like button. It will greatly help the channel with the algorithm. And if you like what you see, hit that subscribe button, and you can also follow me on all of my socials, all of which are linked down below, and all of which house similar content that I make here on this channel. Before we start, I want to thank today's sponsor, Displate. Displate is about collecting your passions and getting inspired. It's a one-of-a-kind metal poster. It's passion printed on metal. This allows it to be incredibly sturdy, eliminating the flimsiness of a paper poster, which can be so frustrating. It's also easy and safe to hang with its unique magnet mounting system, which also makes it stay up much better and eliminates any lines that might be on a normal poster. The cool thing about the magnet system is you can easily switch different posters out for the other, meaning you can quickly change the decor without ruining your wall. Displate has so much to choose from, having too many fandoms to count with Harry Potter, Marvel, DC, Avatar: The Last Airbender, Star Wars, Back to the Future, and so much more. They also work with 40,000 notable artists, have 1.3 million designs available for you, and they deliver to 56 different countries. As I said, Displate is a good alternative to standard paper impressions or canvas printings, and it's even cheaper when you use my link and use my discount code MovieFlame. You get 20% off if you buy 1 to 2 Displate posters, and 30% off if you buy 2 to 3 posters. It's a great offer, so don't miss out. You'll get a great product, and you'll help support the channel with every single purchase you make. Now that I've said that, let's get the video started. Alright, so let's start by breaking down the different tiers. We have God level of good, heroic, good, nice, gray area, pretty bad, very bad, despicable, and super evil. So, let's do it. We're actually going to start with Peter Pettigrew, who I think goes in despicable. Yeah, he's one of the worst characters in the series. I wouldn't say he's the most evil, but definitely, that's a good word to describe him, is despicable. Harry is obviously going into the top tier, without question. Alright, next we have James Potter, and I'm going to put him in nice. And the reason why I say that he's not in good is because of what he did when he was a kid. He was a straight bully. He bullied people just because he was bored, especially Severus Snape. But as time went on, he matured a lot, became head boy. Dumbledore obviously saw something in him and became a man that Lily could fall in love with and start a family with. So yeah, I'm going to say he's in the nice tier. Angelina Johnson. I think that's Angelina Johnson. I'm going to say good. The Goblin, I'm going to say he's in good too. Goblin from Deathly Hallows Part 2. Kingsley, I'm going to say he's heroic. He did so many great things fighting for the Order of the Phoenix, and in the end, he became the Minister of Magic after the Battle of Hogwarts and made a lot of great changes to the Wizarding World that was clearly very needed. Pomona Sprout, I'm gonna say good. Great teacher, obviously fought in the Battle of Hogwarts, but I don't know, just didn't do enough in the battle to make me say that she's heroic. I think that's Parvati Patil. Good, not much to say about her. Runcorn, I'm gonna say gray area. He wasn't working for Voldemort and wasn't a bad person, but when Harry was in his body, the reception that he got was not a good look for Runcorn, honestly. Yeah, gray area. Ollivander, I'm gonna say good. Obviously, he did give Voldemort information about the Elder Wand, but he was being tortured, so I don't hold that against him. Scabier, I'm gonna say pretty bad. Yeah, pretty bad. He worked for the Death Eaters, wasn't a Death Eater himself. Honestly, I think if he had the chance to be a Death Eater, if Voldemort was like, do you want to be a Death Eater, he would have been like, yes. But yeah, he's a Snatcher. His role was very elevated in the movie compared to what it was in the book. We saw a lot more of Scabier in the movie, which I think is a lot of what I'm basing this on, more on the film. Fred and George Weasley, heroic. Fred died fighting for the Wizarding World, and George was right by his side fighting in that battle, and a few other battles on top of that as well. Mrs. Fig, I'm gonna say good. She was Harry's squib neighbor. I think the fact that she was a squib, she could have been sort of resentful, honestly, but I think she was very good about it, Never really got upset that she didn't have magical powers like everybody else, and always did the right thing, protecting Harry all those years when he was at Privet Drive, and also when the Dementors came as well. So yeah, she's going in the good tier. Dobby, obviously going in the heroic tier. He died trying to save Harry, and everything that he did was trying to save Harry because he truly cared about him. And he didn't just save Harry that night in Malfoy Manor. He saved Ron, Hermione, Dean, Griphook, Ollivander. And Luna. He saved so many people. So yeah, Dobby has to be heroic. Even though his heroics are sometimes counterproductive. Bill Weasley going in heroic. You know, he got scratched up in the Battle of the Astronomy Tower, and 1 year later he was like, heck yeah, I'm going back to the same place where I almost died to fight for the Wizarding World. So heroic, definitely heroic. McGonagall, top tier. Top tier. Always fought for her students, was a great person, a great hero, like just all around top tier material. Voldemort going in super evil. He's a psychopath, doesn't love anyone, doesn't care about anybody except himself. Yeah, he's your classic super villain. Nymphadora Tonks going in heroic, fought in the Order of the Phoenix, was an Auror, and ended up dying a hero fighting for the Wizarding World. So definitely belongs in the heroic tier. Madam Hooch, not much to say, just good. Great teacher, you know. Vernon Dursley. I'm actually gonna put Vernon in pretty bad. He was a terrible, terrible uncle and caregiver to Harry. And unlike Dudley and Petunia, he did not have a redemption. Like, he didn't. In the end, like, he still didn't care about Harry. Petunia and Dudley were kind of, like, hesitant to leave Harry in the Deathly Hallows. But Vernon was like, all right, bye. See ya. Good luck. Next, we have Fluffy. I'm gonna say nice, you know, like, it wasn't Fluffy's fault that it had to guard the Sorcerer's Stone or the Philosopher's Stone. So, just nice. Aberforth, I'm gonna say nice. Not good. Made some questionable choices. Wasn't the best father until it was too late and Credence was on his deathbed, basically. Yeah, and like he and Albus had that whole fight at Ariana's funeral, and I think Ariana's death really affected him and made him a person that wouldn't really fit into the good tier, honestly. Like, a lot of resentment, a lot of hate, and it was pretty unhealthy. Mad-Eye Moody, heroic. No, actually, he's going in the top tier. Mad-Eye, he was the best Auror of all time, took down too many Dark Wizards to count, and even when Barty Crouch Sr. was like, go use the Unforgivable Curses on these Death Eaters, Moody was like, no, I'm good. I'll only do it if I have to. And he took most of them down without using the Unforgivable Curses. He only used it one time when it was a life or death situation. So yeah, Moody fought in both Order of the Phoenix, was the best Auror of all time, locked up too many Dark Wizards to count. Clear God level of good, if you ask me. Albus Dumbledore. This is a tough one. I'm between the gray area and the nice tier. I think I'm gonna go gray area, honestly. You can't really look past the fact that he had plans to take over the Wizarding World and rule over Muggles. Like, I get that he was blinded by love with Grindelwald, but he planned that. And he set up Grindelwald to do that exact thing. He gave him so many ideas, including his slogan, fighting for the greater good. Like, he gave Grindelwald a layout of how to become a tyrant and how to become a dictator. And Grindelwald was like, thanks, dipped, and was like, all right, I'm gonna go do this without you. I know, like, he's the champion of Muggles now and, like, always fights for good, but also, like, he's pretty selfish. And I don't know, like, I don't know if I would call it selfish because what he's doing is for the greater Wizarding World, but like, in books 1, 2, 3, and 4, until the end of 4, he really was raising Harry like a pig for slaughter, as Snape said. He thought Harry was going to have to die and basically raised this boy to ultimately meet his end. Then, of course, at the end of book 4, he got that like twinkle in his eye when Harry said that Voldemort used his blood, because he then knew that Harry wasn't going to die. But at the same time, like, he put Harry through so much. He put Snape through so much. I don't know, like, it's just a gray area for me. Especially when you look back at how he wanted to be a dictator. Like, that's hard to get past. The Cairo sister, very bad. Actually, I'm gonna say despicable. Was torturing students when she was a teacher at Hogwarts. Just despicable behavior. Amos Diggory, I'm gonna say nice. He's kind of like on the same level of James Potter. Pretty arrogant, pretty self-obsessed, and always bragging, trying to make him and his son look better. And Cedric's the complete opposite. Cedric is like, stop, Dad, stop. Like, I don't want this. You want this. You're doing this for yourself, not for me. You're like he's selfish, you know? Yeah, going in the nice tier. I don't think he's good enough to be in the good tier. The Caro brother, yeah, going with his sister. Despicable behavior when at Hogwarts and torturing students, despicable. Aragog, shoot. I'm gonna say gray area. He was ready to eat Ron and Harry, or let his kids eat Ron and Harry, but at the same time, he was a very good companion to Hagrid, always looked out for him, always stood by him. So yeah, gray area. Mundungus Fletcher, I'm gonna say pretty bad. Probably the most selfish character in the entire series. He steals, he lies, he does whatever he can to make money, and he enjoys it. Like, he enjoys being just a dick, honestly. He enjoys being an asshole. And he is an asshole. Like, he steals from people, he uses people. So yeah, he's pretty bad. Mathilda Bagshot, yeah, I'm gonna say good. Not much to say about her. Wrote a history of magic. Bellatrix, going in this bottom tier with Voldemort. Super evil, psychopath, just like Voldemort, and enjoys killing and enjoys torturing. That screams super evil. All right, Blaise Zabini, gray area. Nah, I'm gonna put him in the nice tier. Yeah, I think nice is a good place for him. Like, he's not good. He's your classic Slytherin. He's racist, he's mean, he's a bully. And I know that the movie made him seem as though he was helping Draco when he was a Death Eater, but actually he wasn't in that part in the Room of Requirement scene in the book. That he actually just replaced the actor for Crabbe because the actor for Crabbe had some legal trouble. So he wasn't actually there in the canon information. So I'm gonna say just nice. Had he been there for the Room of Requirement scene, helping Draco, shooting off killing curses and torture curses, I would have said gray area. But yeah, just nice. Oliver Wood, I'm gonna say good. Did show up for the Battle of Hogwarts. I don't know, like, didn't do much. I don't think he's on the same heroic front as the people that I put in the heroic tier so far, so I'm gonna say good. The Basilisk. I'm gonna say gray area, like Aragog. Like, it's not the Basilisk's fault that it kills people by just looking at them. At the same time though, like, it did kill Moaning Myrtle, so yeah, a gray area. Colin Creevey, heroic. He was too young to fight in the battle, but he snuck off anyway because he wanted to help them fight for the Wizarding World, and he ended up dying fighting as a hero. Definitely belongs in the heroic tier. Fudge, I'm gonna say pretty bad. He was racist, he was a terrible person, he was obsessed with his own image, and he turned his back on Dumbledore, who did nothing but help him during his term, and also just destroyed 15, 16-year-old boy in the media, just completely slandered him just because he didn't think that what Harry was saying was the truth when it really was. A lot of the bad things that he does can be chalked up to how stupid he is, but no, like, that's not an excuse. He did so many terrible things to Dumbledore, to Harry, and screwed over the entire Wizarding World, really. In doing all of that, he also helped Voldemort immensely. Like, he said Voldemort's not back, and Voldemort was like, oh, okay, I'm gonna chill back here. Keep saying that stuff, Fudge, you know? I'm gonna chill back here, just work in the shadows. Thank you very much. Molly Weasley, going in the top tier. The motherly figure that we all love, god level of good. Dean Thomas, I'm gonna say good. Fleur Delacour, another good. Obviously, she's very obsessed with her looks, like, very self-aware, but at the same time, she's pretty selfless, especially with Bill. Like, Molly Weasley was like, oh my god, the wedding's off after Bill got his face all mauled and messed up, and Fleur was like, what are you talking about? I'm not leaving. Like, everybody misjudged her, and me included when I first read the books. She belongs in the good tier. Antonin Dolohov, very bad. Definitely going in the very bad. Killed a lot of great people, including Remus Lupin. Definitely in the very bad tier. All right, Crabbe and Goyle, I'm gonna say pretty bad. They helped Draco when he was a Death Eater in the 6th book and also in the 7th book. So yeah, I'm gonna say pretty bad. Arthur Weasley is going up here with his wife in the top tier. Definitely one of the people that you aspire to be in life. Arthur Weasley, a great, great man. Sirius, I'm gonna say nice. He's going with James Potter. They were both bullies together just because they were bored. And honestly, Sirius, he wasn't a great person. Like, he held a lot of grudges. He was grumpy. He was mean. And like, I get it. Like, he was cooped up in Grimmauld Place and that's frustrating, but he made some questionable choices, said some questionable things to Harry that just didn't sit right with me when I first read that book. I think the movie made him look a lot better than the book did, and I kind of prefer his arc in the movie. But yeah, I think that the nice tier is a good place for Sirius. Next, we have the Bloody Baron, and I'm gonna put him in pretty bad. Considering the fact that he killed Helena Ravenclaw when she refused to be with him, says a lot about who he is. And obviously he knew what he did was wrong because he wrapped himself in chains and kept the blood on him in his ghost form, basically as punishment for the wrongdoings he did. Next is Nearly Headless Nick. I'm gonna say he's in the good tier. Not too much to say about him. Draco Malfoy. This is interesting. I might say gray area, but I'm leaning toward pretty bad. He was a bully his whole life. He became a Death Eater. I don't know, like, I'm gonna say pretty bad. If Vernon isn't pretty bad, I think Draco should be too. I know he had like a redemption that Vernon didn't have, but at the end of the day, like, I know that the movies made him look a lot better than he actually was. That was like one of their narratives that I really dislike in the films. But yeah, pretty bad. Mafalda Hopkirk, don't know too much about her, but I'm gonna say in the good tier. Lucius Malfoy, I'm gonna say very bad. And I know he had a redemption at the end, switching sides to the good side, but I don't know. I'm thinking about just this one thing, which is the fact that he made sure that that diary that Voldemort gave him made it to Hogwarts, knowing it would open the Chamber of Secrets, knowing that last time that happened, it killed a Muggle girl. On top of that, he was also Voldemort's second in command, which tells me that he committed so many crimes for the Dark Lord, so many. So yeah, I think he belongs in the very bad tier. Buckbeak, going in the good tier. Ophias Doge is also going in the good tier. He's Dumbledore's oldest friend. They went to school together. He fought in the Order of the Phoenix with Dumbledore. So yeah, he's a good man. Fawkes the Phoenix. I'm actually going to put Fawkes in the heroic tier. There are two things that made me do that. One, saving Harry from the basilisk bite that should have killed him. Fawkes came to the rescue like the hero he is. And then the second thing is that he saved Dumbledore. During Dumbledore's duel with Voldemort in the Ministry, Voldemort shot a killing curse that would have hit Dumbledore, but Fawkes swooped in, ate the spell, and died. Of course, was reborn because that's how Phoenixes work. But had Fawkes not been there, Dumbledore might have been killed by Voldemort that night. So, shout out to Fawkes, the true hero. Greyback, going in the super evil tier. Not even a question. He is, without a doubt, in my mind, worse than Voldemort. I made a video where I ranked the villains from least evil to most evil in Harry Potter, and I said that he was number 1, in front of Voldemort at number 2. And the reason why I say that is because this dude is a cannibal. When he's in his human form, he enjoys the taste of flesh so much that he bites and eats people when he's a human. Like, what? That's like the most evil thing in the world. And even if you don't agree with me that he's worse than Voldemort, you should definitely agree that he is super evil. Should be in the bottom tier. Alright, Kreacher the House Elf. He had a nice redemption, but also did some pretty messed up things. Like, he was the reason why Harry went to the Department of Mysteries and why Sirius ended up going there and why Sirius ended up dying. He had been working with Narcissa Malfoy. She told him, Kreacher, make sure that Harry thinks that Sirius isn't home. Sirius was home, but when Harry talked to him in the fireplace, Kreacher was like, oh yeah, Master's not here. So Harry went to the Department of Mysteries, which led to a lot of them getting hurt. Then the Order went to the Department of Mysteries, which led to many of them getting hurt, and Sirius being killed. And all of that can be tied back to Kreacher. I'm half joking, of course. Obviously, it wasn't all his fault. But yeah, with his redemption, I think he belongs in the nice tier. He ended up fighting in the Battle of Hogwarts, leading all of the house elves, and he was incredibly pleasant to Harry, Ron, and Hermione when they were at Grimmauld Place in the Deathly Hallows as well. Argus Filch, I think, goes in the gray area. I mean, when you work at a school and you talk about hanging kids from the ceiling like you used to, that's a red flag. I think he definitely belongs in the gray area. Unlike Mrs. Fig, who was kind of able to accept being a squib, I don't think Filch ever was. He was resentful as hell that he couldn't use magic, especially when he was surrounded by all of these kids that could do it. Like, that was probably humiliating for him, and I think that led to his actions that led to him being where I think he belongs in the gray area. Next we have Gellert Grindelwald, and I'm gonna put him in very bad. He had a nice redemption. He made sure that Voldemort, or he tried to make sure that Voldemort didn't get the Elder Wand. He ended up getting it anyway. But yeah, like, that final act doesn't really make up for the fact that he was a dictator, a tyrant, ruled over muggles, spread hate, spread violence, spread toxicity, was a murderer, murdered too many people to count. He's in the very bad tier. I think his redemption kept him out of, like, the bottom tier, the super evil tier. Xenophilius Lovegood, I know he turned in the trio, but he did that to save his daughter, so I'm gonna say he's in the good tier. Ginny, she of course belongs in the top tier with her mom, dad, and Harry. Griphook, I put him in the gray area. He betrayed the trio in Gringotts, but at the same time, like, he did help them break in. But at the same time, that's just how goblins are, especially when working with witches and wizards. They hate wizard kind, they hate humans, so yeah, he was acting like a normal goblin, but I would still say he goes in the gray area. Neville Longbottom for sure going in the top tier. One of the greatest heroes, defeated Nagini, killed the final Horcrux in her. Without Neville, they wouldn't have won that battle. Cormac McLagan, I feel like he's similar to like Sirius, Blaze, and James in this tier. Self-obsessed, bully, always trying to take command when he shouldn't. Like when Harry was captain of the Quidditch team and he was like, screw it, I'm gonna tell people what to do. You don't know what you're doing. Like, yeah, he belongs in the same tier as them. Lavender, I know she's annoying, but I'm putting her in the good tier. She was just head over heels for Ron and he just wasn't the right person for her. And honestly, I don't think that relationship really reflects who she is as a person. I think she's a very good person when it comes down to it. Next, we have Horace Slughorn, and I'm gonna say he's nice. I'm not gonna say he's good, I'm gonna say he's nice. Mainly because of the way that he selects students. He's very particular about who he helps. He has his favorites, and though he does help a lot of kids get really good jobs out of school, it's kind of done in like a very selective way that teachers just should not be doing. Igor Karkaroff, pretty bad. He was a Death Eater, and this is my thing. If you're gonna be a Death Eater, be a freaking Death Eater. Stand by your boys. You're doing messed up stuff with them. Don't turn your back on them, which is exactly what he did. He ratted them all out so that he could be free. Justin Finch Fletchley, not much to say, just a good guy, you know? Gilderoy Lockhart, I'm gonna say he goes in the gray area. He's a huge liar, he's a fraud, he's self-obsessed, and the thing that really makes him not be in the tier above it with like James and Sirius boils down to his plan that he was going to do in the Chamber of Secrets. He was going to wipe Ron and Harry's memories, leave Ginny down there, not even try to save her, and take some of the snake skin and try to make himself the hero. That's messed up. Those are your students. You're their teacher. Like, you're supposed to protect them, you're supposed to take care of them, and all you care about is your own well-being and your own image. Like, that's messed up. Definitely makes him not be in the nice tier. I will say that. Next is Cedric Diggory. Just a very down-to-earth, genuine, kind person who definitely deserves to be in the good tier. Susan Bones, don't know too much about her, but I'm gonna say good. Lily Potter, definitely heroic. You know, she always swoops in to help people. She swooped in to stop James and Sirius from bullying Snape when they were at Hogwarts, and obviously she gave her life protecting her son Harry. That is the definition of the heroic tier in my book. Mrs. Barebone, definitely going in pretty bad. Not only does she use these kids to spread her message for her own personal gain, but she abuses them physically. Like she's a child abuser. That definitely makes her be in the pretty bad tier. Honestly, no, actually, yeah, I'll keep her in the pretty bad tier. You know what? I'm looking at this. I think I'm actually gonna put Karkaroff in the very bad tier. I'm gonna switch his tier up. I'm gonna put him one below. Cause yeah, like I don't think he's on the same level. I think he's much worse than everybody else in this tier. So he's going in the very bad tier. Madame Maxime, just a good person, going in the good tier. Walden McNair, very bad. I'm gonna say very bad. Yeah, he was a Death Eater. He got off scot-free somehow and actually got a job at the Ministry, which is not a good look for the Ministry. Like, that's kind of embarrassing. This dude was literally coming for your guys when he was a Death Eater, and you were like, oh, here's a job. Also, here's an axe to go with your job. Like, what? Next, we have Hermione Granger. She's going in, obviously, the top tier. One of the bravest, most heroic characters in the series. Moaning Myrtle, I know she's annoying, but I'm putting her in the good tier. She's a good person. She consoled Draco when he was crying in the bathroom. She's a sad character, but she's a good person at the end of the day. Next is Nagini, and this is an interesting one. I'm between gray area and pretty bad. I think I'm gonna go with pretty bad. And I say that because she was a good person in the Fantastic Beasts films, and a terrible being in the original series, literally mauling guys to death. The thing is like, there's so many unknowns. Like, what happened between the time that she was this nice woman to this deadly snake? That's the thing that's making me say maybe she belongs in the gray area, but I don't know. Like, the way that she killed so many people and did it so ruthlessly and enjoying it, like, I think that puts her in the pretty bad tier. Honestly, maybe the very bad tier. No, I think because of who she was in the Fantastic Beasts movies, I can't put her in the very bad tier. Not until I know her whole story, which I hope one day we'll get. Narcissa Malfoy, I'm putting her in the gray area. She wasn't a Death Eater. She did end up making sure that the good guys won the Battle of Hogwarts. Without her, you know, Voldemort would have been like, oh, he's not dead? Okay. Avada Kedavra. Boom. He's dead. That would have been the end of it. And Narcissa made sure that the good guys won and the bad guys lost. And even her hair says that she belongs in the gray area. Light and dark, showing the two different sides of her, the good in her and the bad in her. Next we have Norbert, or Norberta, because we found out that she was a girl. Corbin Yaxley, I'm gonna say very bad. Helped Voldemort take over the Ministry of Magic, was a Death Eater, helped Umbridge send all of those innocent Muggleborns to Azkaban. Yeah, belongs in the very bad tier. Dolores Umbridge is an interesting one. I know a lot of people want me to put her in the bottom tier, but I just can't do that, because I don't think that she's on the same level as Voldemort, Bellatrix, and Greyback. I just don't. She didn't kill anyone that we know of. She did send people to Azkaban, which I think puts her, I would say she's in the despicable tier. I think the reason why people think that she is the most evil is because she's the most easy to hate. She is the character that grinds your gears more than any other character in the series. Like even more than Voldemort, Bellatrix, and Greyback. They're fun to watch because they're just so evil that it's entertaining. Umbridge is just such a bitch that you get furious, like you're infuriated. You don't like when she's on the screen. So I think that's where a lot of people kind of get it mixed up. They mix up annoyance with evil. And when I made my list of least evil to most evil characters in Harry Potter, I had her at number 10. I thought she belonged in the top 10, but I thought that there were 9 people that were more evil than her, that killed, that did all sorts of things that Umbridge never really came close to. So yeah, that's my explanation of why she's not in the bottom tier. Seamus Finnegan, good tier. Madame Pomfrey, I'm actually gonna put in the heroic tier. Her job is literally to save people. It is to heal you. It is to make sure you're all right, no matter who you are. Even if you're Dolores Umbridge, who she helped nurse back to health. So yeah, Madame Pomfrey, heroic tier. Petunia, I'm gonna put her in the gray area. You know, she had a very sad story. She did. She was distraught that she wasn't a witch like her sister Lily. She wanted desperately to go to Hogwarts and even wrote a letter to Dumbledore saying, may I please go to Hogwarts? And he was like, sorry, no, you don't have magic. That rejection was why she hates magic, why she hates witches and wizards, why she hates the wizarding world, and most of all, why she hates Lily. She's jealous. That's a tragic backstory. But that doesn't make up for the fact that you are Harry's #1 caregiver and you treat him like shit. I mean, she's above Vernon because I think she did have more of a tragic backstory that explained why she was the way she was, and also had a nice wrap up to her story after she died. She ended up keeping the blanket that Harry was wrapped in when he was left on their doorstep, and she left it in her will for Harry, which I think is a great detail, and one of the few things I take as canon from the Cursed Child play. Next is Ron Weasley, and he is of course going in the top tier. Honestly, like the whole squad that went to the Department of Mysteries belongs in the top tier. Pius Thicknesse is an interesting one, and I am going to put him in the gray area. And that is because there are so many unknowns. We don't know what he was like before he was put under the Imperius Curse or after the Imperius Curse. We only know what he was like while under that curse. And obviously he was doing what Voldemort said, taking over the Ministry for him, helping the Death Eaters. And I don't know, because there's just so much unknown, like I can't put him in the nice tier, but I can't put him in the pretty bad tier. So I'm just gonna put him in the middle ground and say gray area. Next is Fang. He's going in the good tier. Quirrell, going in the very bad tier. He tried to bring back one of, if not the most ruthless dictators the Wizarding World had ever seen. Yeah, that's not great. He's going in the very bad tier for that. Reginald Cattermole, good tier. Yeah, not much to say. The fact that he's friends with Arthur Weasley tells me all I need to know about him. He's a good guy. Filius Flitwick, going in the heroic tier. He fought for his students, he fought for the school, he fought for the Wizarding World. He's a hero. Barty Crouch Jr. I'm putting him in the bottom tier. He is a psychopath. He really is. Like, just looking at his trial for what he did to the Longbottoms, like torturing them into madness. He did it. He 100% did it. But he convinced the entire Wizarding World that he didn't do it. He cried tears, was like, Dad, I didn't do it. I'm innocent, please. And the Wizarding World believed him. That is pure manipulation that only the most evil person can do. And on top of that, he also ruined his dad's reputation with that. Everybody was like, you sent your own son to Azkaban when he didn't do it. Whatever he needs to do when he was playing the part of Mad Eye, he fooled Dumbledore, the smartest, greatest wizard of all time, who had been friends with the real Mad Eye for so many years. That's manipulation right there. And that's manipulation that only somebody who is super evil can do. Barty Crouch Sr. I am going to put him in the gray area. And the reason I say that is because he was incredibly selfish. He only cared about himself and his career, and he did whatever he could to get power and get respect in the Wizarding World. So much so that he told Aurors, like, yeah, these are 3 unforgivable curses that should never be used on human beings, but please, Aurors, go use them on other people. But yeah, like, I think he's just not a great person. He neglected his son, and who's to say, like, Barty Crouch Jr. might have turned out that way because Barty Crouch Sr. was such a bad dad. Next is Dudley Dursley, and I'm actually going to put him above his mother in the nice tier. He was a very good person to Harry after Harry saved his life from the Dementors at the beginning of the 5th book. We didn't really see his redemption until the final book, but from the beginning of the 5th book all the way to the end of the series, he actually had his redemption, we just didn't know it yet. So yeah, I think he's above his mother. Though he bullied a lot, I think, like, it's the same as James. James was a bully, but he got better, he matured, and he made up for that. Next is Viktor Krum, and I'm going to say he's in the good tier. He's shy, but always has nice things to say. Lee Jordan, another good person. Will always make you laugh, was best friends with Fred and George. Hagrid, also going in the good tier. He is one of the most loyal characters in the entire series, whether it's to Harry, to Dumbledore, to Ron and Hermione, to Hogwarts in general. He is just such a genuine, kind person. He belongs in the good tier. Rufus Scrimgeour, he's gonna go in the nice tier. Yeah, he kind of tried to use Harry, was like, hey, come say this, this, and this to make me look good, even though it won't benefit you that much. And Harry's like, no, I'm not gonna do that. But the thing that really makes him not be in the gray area for that is the fact that he gave his life protecting Harry in his final breath. Voldemort himself went to Scrimgeour and asked where Harry was. Scrimgeour knew where he was and was like, I'm not telling you. And Voldemort killed him on the spot. So now that I just told that story, I feel like he might actually, you know what? He's going up 2 tiers. 2 tiers. I'm going to say he belongs in the heroic tier. And the reason why I say that is because the story I just told, and also because he was an Auror that fought for many years and was a very successful Auror. So yeah, I think the heroic tier is a good place for him. Alright, next we have Severus Snape, and I think I'm going to put him in the gray area. You know, he bullies kids in adulthood, which isn't okay. But he was also bullied as a kid. He was a Death Eater, but he also spent the back half of his life fighting Death Eaters. So, I don't know, like, he's the definition of gray area. Like, it balances out. Alright, next we have Crookshanks, and he's definitely going in the good tier. You know, he's kind of, like, portrayed as a villain in the 3rd movie and book, but it turns out that he was actually right. He was going after Scabbers because he knew who and what it was. Crookshanks knew what Peter Pettigrew had done, which I think is so cool. Stan Shunpike, I'm gonna say he goes in the nice tier. He lies a lot. He lied to those Velas at the Quidditch World Cup, saying that he worked for the Ministry when he really didn't. He was a night bus attendant. Obviously, like, he did some Death Eater stuff, but he was under the Imperius Curse, so I don't really hold that against him or count that. Percy Weasley, oh boy. I'm gonna say the nice tier. I'll be nice and put him in the nice tier. I mean, he betrayed his whole family. Like, you can't really get past that. You know what? I'm actually gonna put him in the tier below. Yeah, he turned his back on his family. He talked badly about Harry. He was horrible to his father, who had done nothing but love him. And he was just an asshole, honestly. Like, his mother comes to him, knocks on his door, says, please come home, slams the door in her face. She sends him a sweater for Christmas. He says, no, get it out of here, and sends it back. Like, what? What an asshole, bro. I'm gonna put him in the gray area. Even with his redemption in the Battle of Hogwarts, I still don't think that it makes up for all of the stuff he did. Sybil Trelawney, I'm gonna say she's nice. She was kind of self-obsessed too. She made up a lot of lies. She made up a lot of stuff. Was almost never right with her predictions. I think she's just a nice person. Has a lot of struggles. Isn't that nice to some of her students. So yeah, can't really put her in the good tier. Luna Lovegood is of course going up to the top tier. She's part of that DA squad that went to the Department of Mysteries, who, as I said earlier, all belong in the top tier. So yeah, she's up there. Cho Chang, listen, I know she had some beef with Harry, and I know they had that nasty breakup, and the movies didn't help by making her be the one that spilled the beans about the DA to Umbridge, which wasn't her, it was actually her friend Marietta Edgecombe in the book. But I think that Cho, I've made a video on this, I think Cho is one of the most hated characters for absolutely no reason. There's no reason she deserves that much hate. She was going through so much PTSD, losing her boyfriend, who literally died. She saw his dead body right in front of her. Yeah, I think she gets a bad rep, and I think she deserves, let's be nicer to Cho. She's a good person. She belongs in the good tier. Rita Skeeter, pretty bad. Yeah. she's going in the pretty bad tier. She makes stuff up, she slanders people, she will do whatever she can to get readers reading, even if that stuff isn't true, and even if that stuff seriously harms the people it's about. Just a pretty bad person, which is why she's in the pretty bad tier. Of all the pictures they could have used for Katie Bell, they used this one. Okay. Yeah, Katie Bell is just in the good tier, you know? Good person, good teammate, just all around good person. Hedwig, obviously going in good. If the movie was canon where she swooped down and took the killing curse for Harry, she would have been in the heroic tier, but I'm basing this more on the book canon, which is like, in my opinion, the real Harry Potter canon, where she didn't actually do that. She was actually in her cage and was hit by the killing curse and fell inside the cage. Remus Lupin, listen, I know he left his wife when she was pregnant, and I know he was going through a lot of stuff, but I'm still gonna put him in the good tier because he did make his way back and he did make up for all of that. Actually, do you know what? I'm gonna put him in the heroic tier. Yeah. He's going in the heroic tier. He and Tonks both died fighting for the Wizarding World and fighting for their newborn baby. And they both gave their life to make the world a better place for Teddy Lupin. So yeah, I think he deserves to be in the heroic tier. So looking at this entire completed tier list, let me know what you guys think. Obviously this was unscripted and I didn't really prepare for it. I kind of just was winging it. So let me know what you think of my picks. Let me know if you disagree with any. I'd love to hear your thoughts. That's all I have for you guys this week though. Look out for the new Half-Blood Prince Easter egg video coming soon. I put so much work into it, guys. I'm really excited to share it with you, so keep an eye out for that. Anyway, thanks so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. You can follow me on Instagram to see more of my personal life, like my cute dog Loki, and some behind the scenes movie flame stuff. I also do similar content on TikTok and Twitter that I do here on this channel, so if you like what I do here, check them out. All the handles are right below me, and links are in the description. Over here are my wonderful patrons. If you want to be featured on the next video, plus get a few other perks, become a patron today. As always, if you liked the video, hit that like button and subscribe, and look out for more great Movie Flame videos on the way.